Test. Is it recording? All right, now go ahead and hit transition to do the intro. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of the Casca Outdoorsman Cast and Release Podcast. Thank you for joining us. It is T-minus a little over 2 days before opening season here in the Catskills for whitetail. And we got a bunch of excited people, but I got some special guests with us today that are joining me. This is Gus Gongemi from Live the Wildlife TV show on, what channel is it on?
Well, we're on Pursuit and Sportsman, and those are two networks.
The Sport.
Pursuit channel.
Perfect. And then you also have a YouTube channel?
Yes, we do, and we're putting more episodes on it. We've never done the episodes on it. We always had shorts on it, but now we're putting full episodes. We're also on Amazon Prime. What'd you do?
She dropped her phone.
Oh, okay. I had the mic drop. I said, she had it.
She was super excited. She didn't realize how famous you were, so she got excited and dropped the phone.
We're on the Pursuit channel, on Sportsman channel. We're on Amazon Prime, YouTube, social media stuff. All the nonsense that needs to be done these days.
The avid hunter, and you travel the world or the U.S.?
No, we've done pretty much the world. South America, Greenland, Africa.
Awesome.
A lot of time in Alaska, though.
Alaska's miniature Australia. Everything's there trying to kill you.
Well, yeah, we did New Zealand. Yeah, that was cool. New Zealand was cool. But the thing is, I'm a guy from Brooklyn, New York. I didn't start hunting until I was 31 years old. So when you do a self-guided hunt in Alaska, saying something from where I come from is what I'm saying.
That is saying something.
Pretty cool.
So immediately following Gus, we have the one and the only Blake Davis.
Praise Jesus. But there's only one of me.
Blake Davis.
That's what the cops are all saying.
Blake Davis has been in the industry when they first invented the bow back in 400 BC. And he is the rep for Black Eagle, Darton, and Conquest Archery, three of the brands that we absolutely love here at the Casca Outdoorsman.
Among other things, but yeah.
Yep. Yeah, you do a lot in the industry. And you know a lot of people too, so.
Well, when you hang around long enough, people don't realize how small the pond is.
Yeah.
And if you swim around a small pond long enough, you meet all the fish. So really, I don't think I'm any different than anyone else that's been around this industry. Everybody knows everybody or knows someone who knows everybody. Trust me, we're not curing cancer. We're just selling bows and waterfowl equipment and everything else. So
you're selling bows, and I get what you're saying, but you're also, and I look at it as you're selling the means for people to put meat in their freezer, to put food on their table. And we could do a whole other podcast about how if you were to eat all of your red meat, if you were to get that out hunting, you would be healthier. But that could be a whole complete podcast. But where we live at, a lot of the people that hunt out here, they're doing this because means to an ends for them. Putting food on their table because they can't afford to pay the prices that stuff's going for. And so, yeah, you're just selling bows, but the other side that people don't realize is you're also selling people the ability to provide.
Well, there's a recreational contingent to it. People are going to use up their free time to do something productive. Whether it's building race car engines or shooting a bow or hunting or fishing or mountain biking, kayaking, whatever they're going to do. But one, I would argue that venison is not cheap, even with rudimentary entry-level equipment. But it is. I think there's a big misconception in the industry that hunting is not about going out and reducing something to table fare. Like I still think the vast majority of even serious hunters do it because they eat it. Now, certain people that are super prolific hunters, Gus can probably say, like, if you hunt, what do you hunt, 5-6 months a year?
Yeah, probably at least that. But we switch off the coyotes, and so it usually is 12 months a year of something.
But you do it, you engage it at such a level that you probably kill more than you could possibly ever eat in a year.
Well, we donate to Feed the Hungry. I remember during COVID.
That's awesome.
My guys didn't have food. I mean, there was supermarkets, so I was putting out coolers of venison for them.
Yeah.
It's great. My family all eats it. We have our annual, we call it Sausage Fest. Keep it clean, guys, but my kids don't hunt, they fish. Both my children, and my son-in-law and daughter-in-law, but we all come together and we share it. We make sausage and everything out of the venison that I've taken that year just to show exactly where your meat comes from, which I think is a big thing that people, the misconception. And one of the big things though is yes, we eat it, yes, we do it, but if you've never hunted, if you've never pulled back an arrow or squeezed a trigger on an animal, the adrenaline rush is off the charts. If you just say it's only because of food, that's a benefit of what we do, but the adrenaline is insane, and it's so hard to do. I mean, I could take the old adage, what is it, 10% of the hunters get 90% of the game, and that's the truth. You know how many times people put their time in the woods to be out there communing with nature, to be part of it. Look, I didn't start hunting until I was 31 years old. And the reason I started was I tasted venison. And I said, I could learn to do this. And I think that's the thing that is being missed right now, is that the generation is not being passed on to the next generation. Great to see an influx of young people coming into the sport or learning about the outdoors. And I think COVID had a lot to do with it. Because I even met guys who were hipsters in New York City, and they wanted to learn how to provide for themselves. So I think that's a positive thing too. And once they get out there and do it, it's pretty incredible.
COVID was very interesting because I think reshaped the way that people thought about a lot of different things. And where I live in the middle of nowhere. There's 900 people in my town, 6,000 cows. I have 77,000 acres of public ground within 30 minutes of my house.
Wow.
I have access to hunting, fishing, everything. Awesome place to live. And we started to see people that obviously were not generational sportsmen on the river behind my house, in the woods around our house. They were foraging for mushrooms. They were looking for berries. They were doing things that I think for the first time in their life, they had to come to grips with what food was and where it came from.
Sure.
And I think there was a misconception that some people thought it was this trendy, cool thing. But when I spoke to those people, they were like, I had never gone to a store in my life and wondered if I could get what I went there to get.
Right.
And I went the other day, and there's bare shelves of dairy products and meat and chicken, and made people realize that the people that go out and engage in it are actually engaged in it for a multitude of reasons. There's no one reason why anyone hunts or fishes or does anything else. But probably the most important is food security.
Yeah.
Grow a garden. It's not that hard.
Yeah, I mean, one of the cool things.
I started last year. I'd never had an interest in growing a garden my whole life. And I'm an Italian guy. And I'm not growing tomatoes. So think about that. I started last year, and I fell in love with growing my own vegetables. So weird that you said that, because I almost wonder if that's how people who've never hunted and experienced it for the first time say the same thing that happened to me with this garden.
Right.
Yeah, one of the things that happened out here, because we were talking about how food insecurity was happening during COVID and everything, and you had all these people, is because of where we live. We have beef cattle farms, pig farms, chicken farms, egg farms, and then regular farms.
Right.
And they were all popping up these little honor system little shacks at the end of their driveways, and they were putting coolers of frozen meat. Wow. And people would be able to come up and scan Venmo or leave cash. Or some people got IOUs saying, I'm sorry, but I need to feed my, and that's why they say it takes a village to raise a family. Mm-hmm. And where we live, we had that, and we had people when the hunting season came in, they were donating the venison. Your organization was, and then we had these families that had these little pop-up little sale shops to where we can get milk, ice cream, some of the best ice cream, I have to admit, and eggs and fresh chicken, and then it put these people on to this, eating this product that was made locally and processed locally and not over-processed. It got people, hey, I think I need to learn how to hunt, because that's another way of taking care of things where if shit hits the fan again.
A lot of people did get their hunting licenses because New York State during COVID put a hunting certification online. It didn't have to be in the classroom anymore. That changed the whole outcome of how many people actually got their licenses.
And so you guys know the individual who's talking here is the last one in our group here. This is Shane Cunningham.
Shane, we got you right off at the knees, man. We didn't even give you a chance to get in.
So Shane Cunningham is one of my pro staff here at the shop. Shane Cunningham is one of my pro staff here at the shop. He is the New York State ASA state champion and also shooter of the year for New York.
No, they didn't do a shooter. It was too small, but I did. I didn't have enough people to shoot. One guy missed one shoot, and that's why I didn't get my group.
Shane has his own YouTube channel,
blame it on
CDO
someone
Archery.
else.
Shane has his own YouTube channel, CDO Archery. Tell us a little bit about yourself, Shane.
Oh, I don't know. Let's see. I've been shooting with you here for 3.5 years, almost 4 years now. I've been bow hunting since I was 14 years old, which is a long time because I'm 40 now. Let's see. I've been shooting for Darton now for a year in January. I'm not gonna lie to you. In 2 days this is my holiday. This is my year. I'm hoping that everything goes right. I got everything's going the way it's supposed to be going. I got my bow is ready. Oh, yes. You said
Your
that
plots
before.
are ready.
That adrenaline feeling, I can already feel
Come
it.
by.
You get to the point where you're going to be able to get in the woods again. I love sitting up in the tree. 15 feet closer to God, as we say.
Yeah. And you've got your plots all set up and everything. On Shane's YouTube channel, he does a lot of really cool content if you want to learn how to, and the importance of setting up a plot, setting up your scrapes, and he goes over all that stuff on his YouTube channel, which is really cool, very informative.
Area stand placement, stuff like that, looking for transition areas in the woods for deer. Because I'm telling you right now, if anybody thinks that he's going to put a food plot in and sit on the food plot, that's not the best way to do it. You got to find out where they're coming out into the food plot, get the transition in between, because when the rut hits, the bucks are not coming out into the food plot. They're coming in a circle and everything to look for the does.
Yep.
So you have to know what you're doing.
And that's all stuff that he goes over on his content on his page at CDO Archery, so definitely check him out as well. And Blake, I'm sorry, you don't have YouTube channel or anything, do you?
Not personally, no.
No, okay.
I hate technology.
You gotta look him up on Grindr. We're gonna edit that out.
Yeah, that is not getting edited out.
I'm sorry,
That is staying in.
I couldn't resist, man.
You get
Charlie,
invited,
how does Gus
try to
sound?
be
Are you able to
nice.
hear him good?
and eventually,
I'm the loudest guy in the room. How could you?
Yeah, I'm going to make sure because the mic's not as close.
That's
so
why
make sure we can
I
hear.
keep it away because I breathe heavy and I talk loud.
Yeah.
He knows
he's been behind a mic before.
he doesn't need it in his mouth.
So what do you want to talk about?
Everybody's getting excited about archery season. I'm sorry, about hunting season starting on Wednesday.
You can say archery season. That's what it is.
Oh, yeah, it is archery
It's not really
season.
the hunting
Everybody else
season.
starts in
Most
November.
people start.
So
right, they start
one of
with
the
firearms.
things that I do want to talk about, I want to touch off with, is how New York did the transition here during COVID to online course for your hunting license compared to being an in-person. So I'm going to start off by saying this, okay? I deal a lot with kids here. I run several youth programs here. I run an after-school archery program, I run an S3DA program, and I help the elementary school for one of my team members, Mr. Scardino, Scott Scardino. He is the PE teacher at the Sullivan West Elementary. He runs the NASH program. He's the head coach. I'm his assistant coach on with that. We had about 75, 76 kids between both our programs. So we have a very, very big youth program here. I lean towards youth archers. That's what I really specialize in, but not my specialty. My TISM that I have is definitely going to be in your arrow setup and tuning of a bow and getting you out in the woods. That's what I'm really good at. But I'm really good at coaching kids. So here's my thoughts on New York State doing online bow hunter and hunter safety courses. All right. So the first issue that I see is when you went to an in-person hunter safety course, bow hunter safety course, it didn't cost you a dime. There was no money that was being paid. Everybody was able to come in, get the course, get their certification, and get out. Now, when you do it online, it costs you money. It's
40.
Wow.
And New York doesn't get that money. That money doesn't go to the DEC. It doesn't go to programs to help grow the education, the safety. It doesn't go to any type of conservation. I'm all about, if I'm paying money into anything that's dealing with being an outdoor sport, whether hunting or fishing, I want my money to go to the conservation. That's my opinion. You may not agree with it. That's my opinion. Now, when they pay this fee going to a company that's being run by somebody, I don't know if they're friends with somebody that made this decision in New York, but they're getting paid to run a course online. So that's my first issue that I have with it. My second issue is I do not like the fact that you're no longer able to ask questions for clarification. You can't do hands-on stuff. Like, they were teaching kids the safe way to transition through a barbed wire fence with a rifle, with a bow. The safe way to take your rifle or your bow up into a tree stand and down from a tree stand. They taught this stuff, and they made the kids do it. And they also, if you got your bow hunter license, you had to shoot a paper plate at 20 yards.
Right, I remember. Yep.
And you had to do a blood trail through the woods.
Yep.
I had to do a blood trail.
This was all stuff that made for a ethical hunter. I am not a fan of non-ethical hunters who think, I think I could take that shot, then you shouldn't take the damn shot. But then again, that's my opinion.
Right.
So I feel by making this online, and when it first came out online, they could keep clipping skip to get through all the videos and then take the test. They fixed that where you can't do it anymore. Now you have to watch the whole video. You can't ask questions.
I made my daughter sit down and do in person. We waited till COVID
That
was
is-
over and we still did in person.
I feel like doing a disservice, one, financially to the industry, because I charge $20 for an in-person and let that money go to conservation. I got no problem with that.
Let it go to the instructors who volunteer.
Yes.
I mean,
Or the club.
You're absolutely the clubs, and I agree. You're absolutely right. But to go to some company who's going to run the server farm and it's going to have this program and software, and they're getting $40 a pop, but how many people that are taking this course in the state of New York are going to pay for it? Because you can't find an in-person course.
Well, not only that, a lot of people are lazy and don't want to anymore. Not this day and age, kids would rather be on a
The
computer.
closest course to this location,
Cross Valley YMCA.
when I started looking in the middle of August, was an hour and 45 minutes away.
I know Frost Valley does one every once in a while. That's where we went.
I almost had a course set up for here. I was talking to the master instructor for this area, and he was all about it. And then I'm assuming he got stupid busy because of that time of the year, to where now we weren't able to get it done. And I was like, I'm going to build you a barbed wire fence. I'm going to build you a tree stand. I'm going to build you everything because I want these kids a pointless accident or unaliving that can happen from falling out of a tree stand, not knowing how to get through it, especially with a rifle, transitioning through a barbed wire fence. I feel it's a huge disadvantage and disservice to the future of this industry and the future of the sport. Excuse me, the future of the sport. So those are my opinions on it. So, gentlemen, please enlighten me.
What I think is the mentorship is missing. It used to be you learn from your grandfather, your father, and it was passed down through generations. I think that's what's missing. And
Absolutely.
what I found now is that I try to be more inclusive. I remember I used to work out in a gym forever, and people would come in the first time in, and they feel intimidated. They didn't know how to use a machine. So the more you make people feel part of this, the more we can get kids involved and offer that mentorship. Because I got to be honest with you, the kid's taking a test online, but he wants to hunt. So then he's going to have to go outside. He's going to deal with conditions. He's going to deal with walking. He's going to be a little more physical. He's just not going to know the ins and outs. I happen to be lucky. I was 31 when I started, but I had a mentor who was knocked 5 years off my hunting by talking to him for years. Just going through all the things, all the mistakes I would have had to learn on my own, he helped me out. I wish that there was a little more involvement in these groups where the kids could go someplace and get that mentorship and learn.
Yes. Adopt a youth hunter day. Provide an incentive. Have the state provide some type of incentive. It's an idea that I'm brewing in my head here. I know it's dangerous.
the state doesn't need to give you permission to take a kid hunting or fishing.
Right.
But no, to have people want to.
Well, here's a situation. We do a youth turkey hunt every year up in Amsterdam, New York. This year we had 73 teams. I want you to think about that. 73 teams. And this is consistent.
Teams, T-E-E-N.
No, T-E-A-M.
Teams, okay.
A father and a mentor. Somebody. Now, we got it all out there.
That's a group.
That helps you understand the number of individuals. Because, I mean, if you had 73, you're looking at double that number.
What's cool about it is you got kids youth hunters who now have outgrown that, coming back to mentor the next generation. So
that's absolutely
it's what we need more people getting involved, whether a hunting club or something. That was my biggest thing when I first started hunting. I had all my friends in high school, and I never hunted. I played ball with all these guys. They all had hunting camps. Their families had, and that generation, my guys my age, sold them off, and their kids never learned the hunting. And it was lost on that generation. It really bothered me because I'm like, and you guys grew up with your grandfather, your father, you all went away hunting, and you learned this, and it was a great tradition, and it was great to pass it on. I'm feeling it wasn't being passed on by my generation of guys, didn't pass on to their children. So now stepping back, going, hey, can we give back a little bit to these young hunters? I think that would mean a lot.
Yeah, I mean, so that story right there is exact. So what happened with me? My father, my mother, they weren't hunters.
Right.
My grandfather, small game hunter.
Right.
He'd go out in his backyard. He'd go out and hunt rabbit, squirrel, stuff like that, because he would bring home and he would eat it.
Right.
Because he was of the day where he went out in your backyard, you shot your dinner and you brought home. And my dad didn't get into it. So I got exposed to hunting growing up in Maryland on the Chesapeake Bay, Elk River area, with my neighbors. My neighbors were huge hunters for waterfowl. We're talking about Canadian ninjas, otherwise known as geese, and all types of different types of ducks.
Anyway, the Eastern Shore for whitetail is phenomenal.
Absolutely.
I down there. It's phenomenal.
But that's the thing. That's what I got exposed to.
Right.
And I remember waking up at 3 o'clock in the morning and going into his basement, and that musty smell because all of his decoys were all of his old kills.
Right. Wow.
Definitely going to keep this PG when you said musty basement at 3 in the morning. That didn't sound.
He didn't have anything fake. He made all of his decoys.
Well, back in the
And
day,
I remember
from the animals that they killed.
things when you were little were a lot more massive than what they were.
Right.
But in my head, I remember going into this basement and seeing rows upon rows upon rows upon rows of nothing but Canadian geese decoys and mallard and you name it. And his entire basement had that smell. Right. And that smell will be with me for like a core memory. But that was the exposure to hunting that I got. I never got an exposure to elk, bear, moose, whitetail. I never had that exposure as a kid.
Right. Well, now you get all the Canada geese you want on a golf course. So
yeah,
you don't have to
whack them with a golf ball.
Right?
I got a whole group of them over at the
So
farm.
the issue, if I can bring that back to what you were asserting, trust me, get to the same point.
Yeah.
When we went to online hunter safety courses, in the middle of COVID, my daughter was just under the age that she needed to be to take the course. And she said, do you want me to take online? One of my daughters, I have 4 children. And I said, no, wait until you can go to a course. And she said, well, I just want to do online. And that was kind of her trepidation of, as a young girl, does she want to go to a fishing game club with a bunch of old guys and other boys or whatever? But that's a social thing. Mm-hmm. But back to that, there's a few other downsides to that. One, you don't have the social interaction that comes with physical engagement. You lose the opportunity to do some things, as you pointed out. The liability that a volunteer instructor has to take on as a hunter education instructor, even though that they're backed by the state, okay, make no bones about it. There's a real question whether the state likes online registration because you're going to sue the computer. Okay.
I didn't even think about that. Wow.
Yeah, it never crossed my mind.
Yeah.
So there's been some real questions there as to why that. The third thing is the computer cannot gauge the individual student. When you walked into your hunter education class, human nature is you scan the room. Which kids are acting a little bit younger, maybe a little less mature, and which ones are more adult, which ones have had exposure to firearms, which ones haven't. The instructor has to look at that child and say, are you mature enough to take a firearm out in the woods with other hunters? And a computer can't do that. And that's why I think I'm with everybody else. I get complaints all the time that I'm a curmudgeon, old school, and I am. There's some very good things that come from old school that people...
Emphasis on curmudgeon.
Yeah, I get it.
You sit next to me. I know why you're sitting next to me, because you look a lot younger. I get it.
These are the two guys that sit in
get
the
it.
porch
I
and
get
yell at
it.
everybody,
Why you-
get off my
why-
grass!
Now I get why I was invited. I got it. Okay, now I know
You're the
why.
smart old man, okay?
Yeah, okay.
Youngest to oldest.
But there's so
No, I
many
think-
facets to everything that in our society, one digitally, I watch my children. The experience is not the same. They trade information and treat it as intelligence. And I tell them all the time that intelligence is the application of information. And we lose that. If you watch a video, you think you understand it. Back to what you said, if you take a non-hunter out into the woods, even if it's not hunting season, and they have an interaction with any wildlife, if you watch campers, if you watch people that have never been out in the wild before, and they see a fish or a squirrel or a chipmunk or a deer or anything else, it's amazing what it does for you. It opens part of your mind that you are not going to exercise sitting behind a computer screen. It doesn't. The other thing is that animals, they don't volunteer to die.
Nope.
So if you want to engage in that pursuit, it takes some effort. It takes some intelligence. It takes perseverance. It takes skill. It takes all kinds of things that are good skills to develop. It's a great tutorial thing. And then lastly, my wife had a friend that moved to Oregon when she was younger, and she's very much a hippie when she moved back. We lived in Vermont at the time. Didn't eat meat, anything like that.
This is your wife.
No, this is my
Oh, the
wife's
friend, sorry.
My wife's from Vermont, but she's not a hippie. But Allison was very much an Oregonian lefty hippie. She wasn't combative, and she was honest. I was cooking pork chops one night. She had a little bit of pork chop because she says that smells good. I said, you should try it. But we got in the philosophical discussion about hunting, and she said, you engage in the process. You understand what it takes to reduce an animal, whether it was raised, because I was raised in a farm background, grew up in agriculture, have made my living in agriculture. I've also chosen to go out and take an animal's life. It is a very important thing to not understand what life is until you've been around the taking of life. And there's so many good things that come out of that endeavor. My son, I don't believe he's never said this to me, but I don't believe that he ever wants to end something's life. He's had the opportunity and never taken it. Right. And that's fine.
Right.
Yep.
Right? It's not for everybody because it can be a very
Emotional.
It is an impactful decision that once you choose to do it, and then you have to deal with the end of it. You have to walk up to that animal and realize that you took its life.
One of the things the kids have to realize is the first time they put their hand, or the hunter in general, puts their hand on that animal, that's the first time that animal's ever been touched by a human.
That's true. Yeah, that's real.
Yes, I did. And that was a very impactful thing. And okay, because some people to live in the world where they can purchase their meat from a shelf in a store, fine. And then there's the people that to get out and get the hunt and get that food.
Well, the only thing that gets me with this is I get this all the time with negative comments from anti-hunters. And it's not people who are against. I always feel that there's anti-hunters that we're never going to convert, but there's also people who are on the fence. That package of hamburger was alive. So you bought it from a supermarket, but you had no problem throwing half a hamburger in the garbage. Find me a hunter who'll waste meat.
They will not.
Because you took that animal's life. You saw it die. You're responsible for it. You have a responsibility to assume everything that's there. You do. Everybody feels that way. I do. And I always wonder when I see people waste food. That was an animal. I know you bought it at the supermarket, but it was alive at one point. And that's always something that gets me with the farm thing. I don't know if I could raise an animal and then kill it. Me personally. So I understand when people feel about the hunting thing, taking an animal's life. I don't have an issue with it. I don't. I do it. It does get me sometimes, but I don't do it. But if I raise the animal, so you think about the same thing where a farm guy or even a 4-H kid raises this animal, shows it, and then
Processes it.
and slaughtered. Yes. So you're thinking, you go, wow.
Different world, though.
Yeah, I've been involved on both sides. Right. My father did not hunt for that reason. Why would I go out and pursue something and kill it when we raise things specifically for milk and meat? Right. I don't need to do that. I've chosen to engage it in a different process. Right. He still had to process killing a hog or a cow or chickens or anything else because it didn't happen far away through someone else's actions. But it is very different in the mentality. We all need to eat, right? And protein is pretty important worldwide. Most protein, most meat was provided for us, and we manipulate it one way or the other in order to get it.
Yep.
Whether it be tofu, a fish, a cow, or wild game. We all engage in the same end use. We get there differently, and it really doesn't matter. At the end, we're all doing the same thing. And I find it quizzical because some people will absolutely get violent over harming an animal.
Yeah.
And it's not harming because we're not going out to harm the animal. Right. We are going out to reduce it to our possession so that we can use it the way that God created them to be used. And
I totally get what you're saying. The way they you torture, I said, no, killing the animal, not torturing it or like beating a dog. I'm not going to eat the dog. This is for food. But it always blows my mind that they're not identifying the food, the meat that they eat, or the vegetables. What's done in the process to get that food? How many animals are killed? Squirrels and snakes and turtles and whatever in that ground gets torn up. Ted Nugent.
Ted Nugent had that video.
Yeah.
He killed millions of animals and bugs.
And to grow tofu.
One piece for tofu.
Right. I mean, they're getting done. And the greatest line on that whole thing is, how cute does an animal have to be for you to care about its life? And that's one of the things
that's huge.
That amazes me.
So this bringing us back into the original question, how an online course.
And there you go. Back to, that's right. That's what
an online course. No, because this all leads to that, because this is creating a disconnection in my personal belief, because they're doing this, and I get the social aspect of it, but it creates a disconnection if you think about it. They're not talking to an experienced hunter. They're not talking to an individual who's been out there. They're not getting the opportunity to have somebody to say to them, you're going to make a bad shot, and you have to be able to live with that. It's going to happen, but you need to practice. You have to put in the time to become an ethical hunter, to where you need to understand your limitations. Yes, 20 to 25 yards, I am never missing, but if I step back to 30, I get a flyer every now and then. Don't hunt 30.
Sure.
Stay within your means. Stay within what you can't get that information from an online course. And so now you're going back to this disconnection to us. A lot of the kids, their parents are not hunting, and we got kids who want to get into it, and they're going to go online, take their bow hunter safety course online, and then they're going to watch a bunch of YouTube videos to get YouTube certified on how to be a hunter.
Don't watch mine.
But that's the thing, is that's one of the gripes that I have with this online course is there's this disconnection that's going to happen, like it's happening in society.
As we sit here on a podcast with a digital TV show host, a guy who's sitting on a podcast speaking it, and a guy who owns a podcast, I totally understand what you're saying. One of the big things that we talk about, and I'm a business consultant as well, is the digital lack of accountability, right? So you go online and you do anything. It's anonymous. There's no visibility. There's no anything.
Yep.
What you don't get is the effect of, now there's a certain accountability to the animal, as you talk about. I have to be an efficient enough marksman that I'm not out there just flinging arrows or bullets, right? My intention cannot be to wound something. It has to be to kill it cleanly. But then it goes back to what you were saying, is that somewhere along the line, we've lost the train of accountability. Where you went into deer
Yes.
camp, right? And I was around deer camps when I was young because my father didn't hunt, so I got invited to hunt with camps. And they were all a little bit different, but there was still, hey, listen, if you're part of this camp, you're part of us. So if you're going to do something, don't be a jackwagon, right?
Sure.
One of my uncles told me when I was 15 years old, after I got done doing something stupid, you have two names. The first one identifies you, the last one identifies all of us. Both of them were good when we got them. There's an accountability in family. There's an accountability in society. There's an accountability personally to yourself and your own character that this digital age and convenience, going back to the shopping at the store and everything, that the convenience culture that we have, the digital culture that we have, is losing. I don't think we have to go back very far in news history to see where there's people who have an absolutely broken perspective of accountability to society.
Sure.
Turn on the evening news. And a lot of that is, you and I joke about it, not a joke though, is in my day, if you wanted to say something to someone, you better be prepared to get cracked.
Right.
And nobody complained about it, and nobody tried to kill anybody. There were consequences to what
Your action.
we chose to do. And again, with this online everything, we're losing a lot of accountability, and we're losing culture. We're losing, in my opinion, the biggest detractor to the hunting culture is the isolation of the hunter as a separate part of society. When we were kids, we drove around, we had guns in
I had 20 in the back window of my truck at school.
yeah.
And we're still in the early 2000s.
We had hunters' breakfast where everybody came out. There was 100 people walking around. They were decent people, and they were hunters. Now, we don't want to do that. Like down here, we had the coyote, the competition coyote hunting became a really big problem. And it's just another isolation of if you can hide it, not us, but if they can hide it enough,
It makes them feel better about themselves.
Yeah.
and isolates us from normalcy. We're only hearing one opinion.
Right.
And that's very, very dangerous. Online, it's a matter of time before someone has an accident having taken an online course, that somebody is going to take exception to the fact that who's accountable.
And I think we're not into enough years into the system yet where we're going to be able to hear people doing that, because if you're 12 years old, you're still hunting with somebody until you're 18.
Right. Well, I also think the online thing, but I
don't.
don't know how many of these kids are going to actually stay with it.
Well, I know my daughter's got the bug.
Well, yeah, but she's
Lana has the bug. Lana wants to ethically hunt something so bad. We have to be careful how we say things, because YouTube will blacklist
She
you.
wants to unalive something so bad.
yeah, but
Squirrel hunt so bad right now. And I told her, you have beach ball, get your hunter safety course, and then we'll take you squirrel hunting. I said, but you can come with us and see how it goes. And then if you think cool, then you can go ahead and do it yourself. I said, but you have 6 years before you can hunt on your own ever. I said, you're going to only go with us. So take your time, relax. She's still young.
what I'm saying, but with a lot of these kids who take these online courses, they're going to go out in the woods.
Yeah. Oh, no, she's
They're
not
gonna
taking it online.
No, these other kids who are taking online courses are going to go out in the woods. They're going to sit for 4 or 5 hours, go out of their minds because they have no idea what to expect because they've seen it on YouTube. And hey, every TV guy is shooting an animal every time he goes in the woods. I'm here to say that
That does not happen.
happen. But
don't know
you're
that
seeing the best of what
Like saying you're not putting the time in, you're not scouting, you don't know what
I
So
think.
the statement of 90% of hunters, or 10% of hunters get 90% of the kills.
It's because you can learn and you can grow with it, but it makes it a lot easier if you have somebody there to help you along with some of
That's
the
a generational
downfalls.
thing, like
and,
was
right.
saying.
Your daughter's has somebody you to mentor her.
My
A lot of these
my
kids are going
father,
to, I don't know many kids who are going to take this test and stay with it. They're going to go out once.
more than 5%.
I don't know why they would stay out. Otherwise, they'd be flocking to your shop, talking to people here, talking to other hunters here, whatever. That's the thing that I think is going to bring them back around. Could be an online course. I get it. I got to be honest with you. When I took my hunter safety course, I was 31 years old, and they made me shoot a shotgun. Not the bow hunter safety. That was fine. That was good. I was good with that. But I had no idea how to shoulder a shotgun. The guys, I was working out pretty heavy. So I'm holding the gun down here. They're looking at me, going to blow right through.
Get ready.
I was okay. But nobody took the time to say, dude, shoulder the rifle properly. Get it up here. I didn't know. I had to shoot it. You didn't have to hit anything. You just had to shoot the shotgun.
See how
Typical Italian, hip firing at everything, right?
No, I wasn't hip firing, but I was holding it really too low.
This is Tommy Gun Tony.
The point I'm trying
Spray
to
and
make
pray.
is that I learned after that because I wanted to learn. I think these kids who are taking the course, yes, it's going to last about a year. Not even. It's going to last a couple of weeks in the woods, not seeing anything, realizing they made a big mistake. Either they're going to seek somebody out who can help them or just give up.
Not knowing how to wear proper layers and freezing their butt off.
And let's think about another thing. When you went to take your hunter safety course, you were surrounded by people as a last resort. You could go back to that fishing game club as a resource if you had a question
Yes.
that you didn't understand.
Yep.
And that mentorship, I think if you ask you spoke about the people that were your first hunting impression, they make an impact on you.
Yep.
They give you a goal. And there's a little bit of nostalgia in that and a whole lot of experience in that. But each one of us probably can point to 1 or 10 people that as we started to hunt, really, they weren't a father, they weren't an uncle, but they became an important part of your journey.
Yep.
They became a reference. And you talk about youth archery. And when I see people that invest in youth in a positive manner, it's so important because you may become, in today's day and age, there's so many kids that don't live with a mother and a father.
Yeah.
A lot of them are being raised by grandparents. You become that secondary family that we had more in a nuclear family in our generation,
sure,
but everything's way more complex than what it needs to be. But there's so much beneficial that comes from people investing in youth. I mean, we have 2 over here, one of them reading a book and one of them digitally entertaining herself and watching the control board.
We're giving them
Yes.
riveting conversation here.
But they both, you're not quite 12 and you write an article for a local paper. You're 12. Okay. So you're 12. I don't know very many 12-year-olds that one would read a book and number 2 would actually write an article.
You can blame her mom and dad for that.
I mean,
They're doing something right.
everything with a grain of salt, but I worked with her for a day. She's a great kid, dedicated, got a great work ethic, comes from a good agricultural family. That all comes full circle because people invested into you.
What about Carly?
Oh,
Yeah.
we're looking at Carly.
Well, I only worked with her for one day. You guys know her, but she made a good impression in the one day.
Well, she tends to scare you into a good impression.
Yeah, she wasn't real intimidating.
No, but Dr. Pepper and like it over because she's so cold.
Yeah. But it is so important across life that we invest in other people, especially because we don't know where they are. Gus, one of the things, I haven't even known you a long time. I've known about Gus because, as I said, they're a really small pond. But one of the first conversations we had was about your investment in the museum up north and engaging youth. And that hits a trigger with me because there's so many kids out there who will never experience baiting a hook, catching a fish,
Sure.
hunting a turkey, going deer hunting, a camping trip, a canoe trip, anything. Because
They
they
also-
don't have anyone who invested in them.
And they won't experience. So more than that, though, to me, also therapeutic. It's a form of therapy that people don't realize is there. My story is COVID was probably the best damn thing that ever happened to me. Changed my career, changed my direction in my life because the government stepped in and said I'm not allowed to work. They shut down the business that I was working at, a water park, indoor water park and resort, hotel, and they allowed the casino to open up before they let us. When we had more precautions in place than what they wanted, they wouldn't return our phone calls anymore. They wouldn't return our emails, and they let the casino open up before they would let us open up. And we were like, okay. So that forced me to relook at what I was doing in my life. And I made a decision that I wanted to open up this store. Because when COVID hit, I couldn't do anything. What did I do? I hopped in my kayak. I grabbed my son and we floated down the river and I went fishing. I was working 15 hours a day, 16 hours a day as a salaried employee in corporate America, wasting my life away, not realizing how much I was drowning myself in the work to stop my PTSD. So as a veteran, I have PTSD. My nights suck. The noise doesn't stop. When I moved up here from where I was living at down in South Jersey, working in the city of Philadelphia and all that, bad all the time. Everybody was fighting road rage and all this. And then I came up here and I moved up here and I already had a lot of relief because it's a slower world up here. This is old America. If my kid does something stupid, I find out about it before he even gets home because it's a village to raise a family here. And so when COVID hit, I came to this realization that I was drowning in my work to dull some of the issues that I was having. And so I ended up getting outside again. I got back into fishing. I was going for floats 3, 4, 5 days a week, throwing in the line, going fishing. Hiking, I was going back, got back into hiking and everything. It became the best therapy that I've ever had in my entire life. Better than talking to a shrink. Better than taking any medication. Better than self-medicating. A lot of us veterans self-medicate, alcohol, weed, whatever it may be, to numb everything that's bothering us. When I got outside and I started getting back into the outdoors and I started doing that. And that's why my mantra, that's why my phrase for my business, find your peace outdoors, because I literally found my peace being outside. And there's these kids who are dealing with so much nowadays and are staring at their phones for so long and getting disconnected from the world. If we can get a couple of them that are willing to, they have a little bit of a bug to want to learn how to hunt, and they realize that they can't sit in that tree or in that blind or stand in the woods and stare at their phone, and you disconnect, you pull that plug, whether it be voluntary or involuntary, and you're out in that woods, they might realize, holy shit, this is better than TikTok.
I've been in a lot of camps where all guys do on the whole time. And
Oh yeah, no, I'm sure they
scrolling their phone and then they don't see the animal come in. They didn't hear that. Dude, sit in the lodge and do that if you're going to go in the woods. But hey,
but you get the point that
an attention deficit. We're
instant gratification.
Instant gratification, everybody. And that's where I see, even we're saying the kids who take a course online, it's not going to happen away, and it's going to take effort and time, and the real passionate ones will stick out and the rest will fall by the wayside. Not for them.
And I would agree that as a society, even in our generation,
Sure.
the easy button is
We all use it. I mean,
absolutely.
You used before. He used the word. You looked something up, didn't you?
Yeah, I didn't know
So
what.
think about how quick. Think about how quick that.
Big words for it, Ryan.
And now-
Use Google for
no. Here's a good question.
Quizality. It's like, what the hell does that mean?
Everybody's
He
talking
made it up.
about
To see if we
Never heard.
I know. I'm
I
joking.
got the definition.
He wanted to see how far he could take it.
in a world that's becoming dominated by AI, which is artificial
Scary.
versus there's a reality when you go out and you get wet and you get
Oh
cold
yeah, hell yeah.
and you see living things that are real that you don't have any control or ability to manipulate.
GPT. What's it feel like to be wet?
Yeah, no, I hear what you're saying. That's the biggest thing that got me with hunting too. No matter how much money you have, yes, you can go to better places, but the point is, you can't make that animal. You can't pay that animal to do what you need it to do to get that. That's why that's such an amazing feeling, because you can hone your skills, but still there's another participant in this, and it has to all come together. And when it does,
Yes, absolutely.
I shot an elk once, Wyoming.
Once?
No, I've shot a few elk, but not many. I haven't gone out a lot of elk hunts, but I went out there. This is a kid I outfitter. I was hunting with this kid since his dad since he's 8. We went, and he calls this bull in, and here it comes, 52 yards. But look big. I had these little trees range at 35, and I'm there, and my cameraman's behind me, and my outfitter's behind calling. So then we had 3 guys, 25 yards apart, each of us. Here comes this elk, and all of a sudden he turns. I could use my sight housing to judge an animal size. A deer, I could tell you where a deer is, how many yards, pretty much. Be close, within 5 yards, by looking at where it sits in my sight. Mm-hmm. The elk filled the damn sight. So I'm thinking, I had it set at 35 yards, or 30 yards. I think I had my pin set, the movable pin. I said, I got it. He's right at 30, and I shoot. Hit the elk, jumps, runs, and then starts walking off, starts going down this hill, and look, it was going to go down. Okay, so anyway, we look for the elk and find the arrow and good blood on it, but it was 52 yards, not 30 yards. I hit him low. I killed the elk, but we didn't find it for 4 hours, so we're going all through this mud. We thought we would go down low. Walking up this road, we found them. Dude, I sobbed, baby. Now, my cameraman was there and the outfitter. And if either one of them would have laughed, we would have had no teeth. I'm being straight. I mean, I would have hit him. But I took everything. I was sobbing, man. I had to turn away. It was that bad, that emotional of a moment. And I that's the thing about hunting that people don't understand. Your time and investment, when it all comes together, is so incredible.
And the anxiety that comes when you mess up or you think you might have messed up.
That's worse than the feeling you get from an animal getting
awful.
Here's even worse than that. I was 55, and how many more years I could run the mountains. And I've shot elk before. I never had a bull come in screaming, jumps his barbed wire fence. Everything I wished for, and I blew it. And I'm not going to get a chance to go back out next week. This was it. I don't think I can handle these mountains again. And finding it was the most incredible thing ever. And people can't understand that passion or that feeling. And you wish you could share that with everybody who hunts. And I'm sure a lot of people, especially their first deer or their first animal.
From my first one to my last one, the overwhelming feeling when you know that you did a good job is the best feeling in the world.
Sure.
And you can't recreate it with a pill, or you can't recreate it.
I am an absolute mess after I shoot. I'm fine until I shoot, but I am a mess
30
after I shoot.
My ass off. I'm sitting here shaking so bad that I'm almost falling out of the tree. And it is the best feeling in the world. And you can't tell somebody
I can pass the negative 30 thing. Okay.
No, the body feels it.
I've been there negative 42 in Canada, and it was the coldest November on record in Saskatchewan, and I still have the article. I saved it. I don't want to do that anymore. It's a little too cold, bro.
I have friends that I have that just are fair weather hunters, and they do not go outside of under 30, and it's like, you guys are absolutely insane. I said, you got to do all.
Yeah, you got to do all.
Well, it really comes down to, I think a lot of people hunt to participate.
That's cool, though.
Right. Listen,
participate, because even if you don't kill anything, you're still helping with the money you put towards conservation too.
Well, and
achieving yourself,
the experience
being aware of what's happening.
Some days I'll be out in the woods to be out in the woods.
There's days where it's a great day, even if you don't get an opportunity.
Well, bad day in the woods is always better than a good day.
Yeah,
it's funny because I started another social media Facebook page for outdoor people, women, men, anybody who's photographers, hikers, campers. Because I get so much negative stuff when I post a dead animal. This is for the hunters. I'm sorry it offends you, but don't look at the page. Don't go on the page.
Change the frickin' channel.
Well, but I put something out there because I show photographers, people taking pictures of animals, getting close, using some of the hunting techniques without shooting with a camera or experiencing it. And I think the more we include those people in our world, they understand what we do, because there's anti-hunters that we're never going to convert. But there's a lot of people on the fence. And the responsibility we have is to promote it ethically. Some of the bloody pictures of the animals, I'm like, dude, man, clean the animal up. Right. I understand you can do it. I understand it. But you're offending a whole group of people that we could probably have them on our side to understand what we do. I know it's not our responsibility to do it, but it is. The more we include, the more we keep what we love. And we're more inclusive, bringing more people in. I try not to. I shot a doe last week or whatever. I'm not going to show the doe's head, man. I'll hold the doe's head up. I got my hand on the back of the doe, and I show me processing the meat. why would I want to hold a doe's head up? What are you doing? I watch guys do it sometimes, and I'm going, I understand it. It's cool. If that makes you happy, great. But we're turning off a bunch of people that maybe we could convert to, not hunters, understand what we do.
Right.
So they're not against us. That's
Yeah,
No,
this
don't
is
get
a
me wrong, I'm
very
definitely not offended at shooting a couple slick heads.
no. That's what I eat,
yeah.
dude. That's what I
They're the
eat.
ones that fill my
That
freezer.
feels my freezer.
That bucket.
Yeah.
No, because that's a lot of donating. But the does fill my. But I don't need to post it that way.
I post the hunt. If I'm doing the hunt,
I'll show. There's a doe. There's the backside of the doe. My hand's on the doe. It was shot. But I'm saying sometimes people go a little overboard the other way, and I know that we can, but it's a matter of time for the right administration gets in there, and that becomes a negative.
And I'm probably guilty from one perspective. I am the least touchy-feely guy when it comes to, one, I kill things. I don't want to sugarcoat anything. My intention, I bring a weapon out instead of a camera because my intention is to reduce something to my possession. Right? And there's a certain reality in that one, as long as it's not done for the wrong reason. Intention is so much in life, right? If you want to go out and kill something with no respect for the animal, now understanding what you're doing and is offensive. But the biggest education we have to do is there are the vast majority of us going out, respecting the animals. Yes, we kill them.
Yes.
We kill them because it's the only way that I've figured out how to get them to let me eat them.
Right.
Okay. And I don't mean that as a joke. That's the truth, right?
Yes. Yeah.
But blood, if a person is on the side of the fence where blood in a picture is offensive, right? That person does not understand the killing. And it's not about hating, about not understanding. I cannot relate to someone from a lot of different perspectives in life. I can't because I've never experienced it.
Right.
And as I get older, I get a little smarter about not being quite, my wife accuses me of having Tourette's, that things come out of my mouth because I don't think about things when I say them.
I don't suffer from that problem.
But I don't think anyone walks through life not understanding where I sit. I do believe that, I don't believe we have to paint a picture that's not true, but I do believe that we have to emphasize the fact that as hunters, your view of us as hunters is probably skewed, and we can't reinforcing that in a photo.
Maybe I'm saying wrong, and it did come out right. I post more,
I
I
think
post
you're
more
right.
dead stuff than anybody. I have a way of doing where I've learned how not to push people. I shot a doe. My hand was on the doe. The next 3 pictures in there were me processing the meat. Now, correlation. I killed that animal. I'm eating that animal. You guys got it? Like, yeah, there's blood because I'm meat. If you know, but I'm showing that I'm just trying to educate the people who are offended by things, not the antis, because those you're not going to win. I'm not saying them, but there are people who.
And I would also say that you are correct in that your audience is much larger than mine.
Right.
The people I affect are infinitesimal compared to what you have the potential to
You
influence.
don't need your phone for that.
And therefore, I totally understand why you do that way and why someone else would do it.
I show blood, dude. I'm believe me.
Yes. Oh, trust me, I like
you
every
walk into my
picture you
trophy
post.
room. You go in there. You're like, this guy's a murderer.
Right.
But I'm not. I don't do it to kill the animal. I do. But I love the whole hunt aspect of it.
Thousands of years.
That trophy marks a moment in time
Yes.
that you shared with a living, breathing creature that is not repeatable ever again.
No, well, that's even cooler is the video. As I started doing the video work with the TV thing, that meant even more because I could tell you that a brown bear stood up in front of me at 20 yards. I didn't shoot because to me it was an unethical shot. Because I went there to kill a brown bear with my bow. Not hit it. Now my outfit is shooting with a gun. Okay? I went there to kill it. Double on it. My rules. My money, my rules. Don't care. 100 people say, because we took a still shot of it and everybody, you've been used all over the damn place. We should have copyrighted it. But anyway, bear standing up. To me, that's a one lone shot. That's a 1,200-pound animal. Good luck looking for it. I had my son running camera and I had my guide with me. It's not fair to them to It's just not fair.
One lung deer can live almost 24 hours.
So I'm looking at this going, okay, but I did shoot one a couple hours later, double lung, and it wanted to be a giant bear. So what the point I'm trying to make is that we all have to take our own things into the woods with us and what matters to us. I just have learned that I'll clean the blood off the deer a little bit. There's blood there, but not leaving a gross blood. I try to do so that, and then the meat part of it, we're eating it. How many bear things are negative, and how many posts I put of us, especially down in North Carolina. We eat everything. They rather eat bear meat than venison. There's people waiting with coolers. Swear to God, unbelievable. And we ate it. We eat, process it, we eat it, and everybody, you kill that bear full. No, bear meat's good.
I'm not a big fan of bear meat.
But I'm saying some of the best meat you'll ever eat. A little with the trichinosis thing is weird. You better make sure that you process it quickly and don't let it sit. But
Yeah, and that the fat, it renders into the meat, because if you let it sit long enough, the meat will keep hot enough that the fat will turn into a liquid.
Right,
Soak into the meat, and then the meat's.
yeah, we have to have a whole club down there. They hunt with the hounds. I do with it. Without the hounds, I've done my own stands. But anyway, we have a group to get out, so we get those bears in quick and
And down
process it.
south, they are masters at taking care of things. I have never seen bones picked on a deer.
Yeah,
I went deer hunting in South Carolina, and the season opened in mid-August.
right,
So we're hunting in bug suits and shorts. That's hot.
right.
That deer hits the ground, and let me tell you, them boys
Yeah,
have
they don't
that
mess
thing
around, yeah.
pulled apart, cooled down, chunked up.
Sure.
And a cultural thing down there, we wait until it's cold. Right? I know guys that won't hunt if warm, right?
I hate.
They don't
I
have
hate
the
hunting
option.
when
My
it's
brother
warm.
built a little lean-to cooler on the back of his garage with a little air conditioner with a cool bomb.
Right.
And we can hang 3-4 deer in there if you want to. So, whatever, shoot them.
The point I'm trying to make is I don't like being in the woods when it's warm. I don't feel like hunting weather. I've done it. I don't like it.
There's been times in October the last couple of years, 85 degrees.
Yep.
Yeah, I can't.
My wife, you're going out there. I said, yeah, I'd rather be out there than
I don't like blowing my spots. To me, I'm looking for those cool.
I've got
So-
spots of hot. I know.
I've got hot spots. Yeah, yeah. That's
I'm absolutely loving this conversation, guys. This is some really good stuff that we're going over. But I want to get us back into finishing up on the
edit.
topic.
Online registration.
Hey, dude, check this out. You could edit all this.
I know.
Cut us out.
We were having a really good conversation.
Yeah, really, man. We're really enjoying this. You know, and you had to interrupt.
You act like you're the host or something.
Jeez, Ryan. God.
Whose shop is this?
Back to,
Carly's. Yeah.
I was going to ask Shane his opinion, but we're going to move on from that now.
I say I already eat my
On the, well, yeah, you did.
I'd rather have, and my kids, I wouldn't say I forced them to do it, but I'd rather them be in person.
Yeah.
My wife never took it. When my oldest was old enough to do it, when she was 12 2 years ago, my wife's like, should I do it? I said, yeah, I think you should. I think you should go and do it with her so you know exactly what we're doing when we're in the woods together.
Now, does your wife hunt?
She absolutely hates it.
Coach.
Tags.
What?
Online course.
Online course. Thoughts, positives. Do you see a positive? Do you see a negative? Where Blake was talking about the fact that it's definitely a social thing because the kids this generation all about being disconnected from reality.
So society.
Society.
As negative as I was in my first comments, I think the one thing that's critical is that we need as many people participating as possible.
Yes,
Okay?
absolutely.
Because as we look at the expansion of our population and who those people are and where they come from, they don't come from cultures that hunt. So as I age, what I do is going to become more and more strange to people. So the advantage to online hunter education is one, anyone has access to it theoretically if they can pay the $40. But number two, if it gets more people exposed to the information in that course, that is a good thing. There's some downsides to it for sure, but
This is part of our youth hunter group. I'll just pass this around. You guys, I'll send you pictures of it. You can see
That's
how
the
many
spring,
kids are
right?
involved in. What
Yeah,
I'm
send the
saying
pictures.
to
I can
you-
put them up.
What I'm serious
decent amount
is
of
that this is it's just for turkeys. This is the kids who connected. That not everybody's in that. There were
That's
73
insane.
That's
teams.
crazy.
That is insane.
So this is the kind of.
I
this is
love
what you
seeing
want.
that.
I get you some video for it too, so you could post on your thing.
That is what I want to say. Our youth is our future for this industry. And when I say industry, I'm talking about the world of hunting.
What I'm saying is it's not dead, even though there is some online stuff, and I got where it's going and got where
I believe
society's
same
going. I
thing
think
like
there's
saying
still
most
guys
people
like
get
us. I'm involved in that every year. I'm up there filming, and I'm up there meeting, and my sponsors donate a bunch of stuff. And it's amazing. They give away rifles and canoes and kayaks, and there's a lot of cool stuff up there. And what's great, what I'm saying is the youth hunt is pretty intense.
And it's
We have a NWTF program that's down
Right,
here in
and
Southern
the turkey is so much better than the deer. I tell you why. Exciting though, when they hear a turkey gobble, they freak, and it keeps these kids pumped up. My first year hunting, I shot a 5-point buck, I shot a spike buck, and I shot a turkey that fall. I hit 3 things. I was hooked. Hooked, bow kill, rifle kill, shotgun kill. So I'm sitting there going to myself, this is for me. But if I was unsuccessful for 2-3 years, I don't know if I'd have continued. Because I might have said, this ain't good. So to me, these kids, to hear these turkeys, we video it and you see these kids' faces, they're freaking out.
I like going hunting with turkeys. I don't even care about me shooting one, but I like to be with the people and film them doing it.
Right. Yeah, but if
turkey, I'd
to get
rather
the
watch.
youth involved, you can't tell them you got to sit here quiet for 4 days, not going to see anything.
necessity of success really all that important to retain people, because turkey hunting, you bring up a point, okay? I don't know any kid that I've ever brought out in the woods or been out with that heard a turkey gobble that wasn't excited. I don't know a kid that we've put in a duck blind that when a guy is calling to a duck and a duck turns and it comes in and it comes into the decoy set, does not say that's cool.
That's awesome.
I don't know.
You watch that lab start patting his feet because he get excited.
14 years old, just going out squirrel hunting with a 22 with my father. Just being able to get a couple squirrels or going out through and trying to get the squirrel to turn on a tree.
The thing,
you never got them all the time.
The thing is, they're playing Call of Duty or whatever games they play now. Just think about where the excitement level is and where our excitement level. You're a lot younger than me, but still the point. You didn't have
Not a lot, but close.
you didn't have those video games.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
We had our
You
time.
didn't have that.
So
So
hold on, I had PlayStation. All right, I'm not that old.
I'm trying to
We
say,
had Pong, okay? That's what we had.
I'm going to introduce somebody here real quick. So this is Carly Scardino. She's one of our pro staff here, but she's also how old are you, Carly?
I'm turning 16 too.
Okay. And she wants to hunt.
Oh, she's gonna drive.
So I want her perspective on what she sees pros and cons. I want her to join this conversation. I'm going to step out so we can hear from the youth.
okay.
And
You're gonna ask you questions.
We've been listening to you, and you have a mental age of 12, so
you're making me older than what I really am.
12? You give him 12? I give him 10. Almost double age.
welcome, Carly. I guess you're the host now.
Look,
Yeah.
amazing how our minds were together.
We're old
Me and
guys.
you, Me and you, right? All right, together. I was going to welcome Carly too. So welcome, Carly.
Thank you.
Not that it's my podcast, but I felt the necessity to say
Well,
that.
I think I have the first question.
Okay.
What got you interested in wanting to go hunting?
Probably starting in the shop and seeing all the videos of you guys going out and doing hunts, and it looked really interesting. I've wanted to hunt for a while, even before I even joined any of this 2 years ago. My grandpa, he rifle hunts. He used to bow hunt, but he got older and then he didn't want to do it anymore. So now he rifle hunts. And I wanted to rifle hunt, but now that I'm into this, now I want to bow hunt. So
I also think that the fact that she's an amazing shot probably makes this transition a lot easier than someone who can't shoot. Now, once you realize what you're capable of doing with a
I
bow,
have to get you a bow hunting.
I will tell you, I killed my first 6 deer with a recurve, and I would guarantee you that you're a much more competent marksman than I was when I started hunting. No, she's
just
just,
saying how much more competent
even if
you were.
she did, she'd probably still be better than I was when I started.
Well, the equipment's great too, and plus the fact that I didn't have access to this, and not that I would have been better, but I was playing ball. I didn't have any interest in it. But great that you have this background to take into the woods with you. You're competent of your shooting. Now you can calm your nerves and make the shot that you're well capable of doing. You realize if you miss or wound an animal, it's because you got nervous, not your skills. Your skill level's there. Something, because I know guys who are great target archers who,
You put
you know,
hair on it,
I'm
they're
telling
not
you, I've
hitting
watched
anything.
guys hit quarters at 30 yards, consistent, boom, 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 and I'm going, how'd your season go? I missed one or wounded one. What? Impossible. They
Like-
just shook. They got But that's why you do it. That feeling. I don't know. I'm not a competition archer, so I don't know what that feeling is when you're shooting. I'm sure you get the adrenaline and everything, but the whole thing is calming your nerves. Same thing in hunting, but except when that target's not moving. You calm your nerves, and that target's going to be there. When a deer shows up, especially something you're looking for, okay, it's not standing still, but not even that. The fact that I can't believe this is happening.
Exactly.
I can't believe this is happening.
Okay, there's about 500 things that could go wrong right now.
Calm down, get everything ready. And this goes through almost every archer I've ever dealt with, every hunter I've ever dealt with goes through that. But your skill level is beyond most 90% of the people your age.
I will be interested to hear your experiences, right? Because we can all guess because we've been there. But every person that you talk to, me telling the story of the first animal that I ever shot at, or the first deer I ever shot at, is laughable. I missed the same deer 4 times.
Was that
The
4 or
same.
5 misses?
What?
4 or 5 shots for the first?
Oh no, I missed him 4 times. I only had 4 arrows.
Oh, so you would have missed them 5 times.
Yeah, the only reason I didn't miss him 5 is I didn't have another arrow.
I don't want to think about. I don't want to think about my first one. I remember the first deer I shot. I've never even killed anything. I didn't hunt. I was so shocked that it actually showed up. Forget the shot. I made the shot. Dude, I got my 4-wheeler to drag it out of the woods, flipped the 4-wheeler down the side of the mountain, and drugged it. I said, downhill, screw it. I grabbed and drugged the deer down. I was beyond. I can't express what I was feeling when I shot that.
You were so excited and disbelief when you finally
it was
connect
disbelief,
with an
but it
animal.
weren't anything that actually all this hard work and homework paid off, that this deer showed up.
One of the things that I explain to the kids when they're first getting into hunting, when I had this conversation with one of my students, and you have to be careful with your level of confidence, especially if you're new. And I told him the first time you draw your bow back or put the sights or the scope on that buck, doe, whatever that you're hunting, 50% of your skill is out the window right off the bat, because the first time you're going to get nervous. You cannot be overconfident in that sense. You have to make sure that this goes back to the whole putting in the time, putting in the practice.
There is no amount of preparation that you can give any archer for the first time that they have a live target in front of them, because 90% of your physical and mental faculties go right out the flipping window.
Absolutely.
And,
We know muscle memory, 90%. She's going to draw a bow, get her anchor point, put her pin, and shoot. Try to be confident, not overconfident, but try to be confident, because I've had my confidence rocked and on a miss or something. And dude, it took 2 or 3 hunts to get things back together. Okay, can I make the shot? Can I make the shot? You start really doubting yourself. You've shot at 3D. You know what you're doing. But I think the biggest thing is to overcome that that surprise of actually now in range. There.
And your body's reaction, and your body's reaction to it. Because I remember people ask me, when you finally got your first deer, what it was like. I said, honestly, my second was even harder, because I missed the first 3 deer I shot at, 6 total shots. When I did hit the first one, right, I was like, this weight was lifted off me.
Wow.
But my second one, I was only 14 years old, and I didn't have anyone to teach me how to hunt. I was shooting at deer. But my second one, I was more nervous on my second one than my first, because after so many misses, my confidence level you talked about was the first time fluke. And I really went through classic target panic with animals until I was about 17. And where I got my confidence when an animal showed up was not good. And going back, I got to where I started to hunt more states. I started to kill more animals to get that under my belt.
Sure.
And that's what's built my confidence level up, that at least I can talk myself off the ledge.
Sure.
Sure.
Yeah,
but that
small game hunting did that for me when I was younger. Getting that, shooting squirrels and rabbits.
I was
handling that moment, right?
It give you a little bit of idea of what taking animals like.
Sure.
Like.
I was a death ray with small game. Like
Give me a 22, put me in the sports. and
Well, if you're going to
schools,
hunt out of a
and
tree
schools.
stand, I would suggest you get up in a tree stand to practice. And I can tell you why, because I've seen 100 guys who could shoot amazing on the ground with their feet wide apart and the wind not blowing. And they get up in a tree and it freaks them out
And I'm
because
moving, I
they
move
can't
deer.
shoot. Height scare them. So you got to know if that's an issue or not.
I am
What?
not scared of heights.
No, well, then you need to watch your feet because you're on a small stand. So all those things, the way you practice, what I used to do is on my deck, I had like a 12-foot deck. I used to put an 8-foot ladder, shaky ladder, and I would shoot every morning off that at 47 yards. That's where the target was at. And I would shoot every morning because get used to, this is how my feet are going to be on the stand. And then people don't do it. You're not used to it, and you're not your normal stance that you would take at a target. So those are things that you might want to think about trying, at least get up there and make sure that if you're going to hunt out of a ground blind, great, then shoot out of a ground blind. Practice out of a ground blind. If you're going to shoot out of a tree stand, get up in a tree stand.
So I have a question for Carly. You've taken your hunter education?
No.
Okay. So are you going to take online or are you going to?
I don't know. My dad wants to do it with my whole family, so I don't know.
Time's a wasted. Tell them to
Yeah,
get
we're
on
gonna
it.
have to have a watch party here on the wall. Do off a computer.
What,
together.
one thing that you were alluding to is that finding a course, especially a bow hunter course, one of my dealers from up north who puts on a few courses said as soon as DEC opened up the crossbows, there was a whole lot of people that had crossbows that didn't need bow hunter education that all of a sudden in order to hunt with a crossbow now,
They need it.
no, because it was under your muzzleloader tag.
Wow. So now do you have to get it out?
You have to have your bow hunter
So now
safety
you have
course.
to have an archery certification. in order to go out with
That's
your-
pretty.
They made it for the whole season now, so you have.
Yeah. Well, yes, a
So-
lot of states have it.
every bow course on the planet filled up in a day or two. And there's not enough volunteers to do more courses. And most of them really want to be out bow hunting in another 2 days. So it'll be interesting to see how many tickets get written for people that are hunting with a crossbow that don't have archery certification.
Wow.
So, because the state was really clear about the way they were going to implement that, and they only waited 6 weeks of process in order to get it passed
It's
anyway.
Way too
So,
long for them to pass. It should have been passed in the beginning of June.
so do you want to take it with your family, or do you want to take it online?
I want to take it with my family.
Okay, you're pretty family. Talking to you the day that we worked the tournament, your family. You were saying
They're
you all
probably one of
work
those
together.
close knit
Yeah.
families
You know.
I've seen in a long time.
Yeah.
They're very tight.
Yeah.
She was saying that because your parents are teachers, right?
Yeah, my mom's a office secretary. My dad's a
And
physical
then
education teacher.
summers, you work in the restaurant business.
Yeah.
All as a family. That's cool. So,
Going back to what Gus was saying about practicing on the ladder, this is not advice that you can get from taking a course online. That's another. I have a big issue with youth archers taking the course online because they can't get that type of feedback. They can't get that advice. And going to create a generation of archers or hunters, I'm sorry, that want to be ethical hunters, but have not been led in the right direction or given the right advice because they don't have access to, because they can't ask questions.
I put that online. One of my things, right? They can look at your stuff and you can give them some ethical stuff. They can, and they can research online. The point
You're
is,
not going to get person to person stuff. They
right?
can still
But
find
it
something.
is amazing how much knowledge people gain
lot of
off online. But I don't think it prepares you for the pitfalls, the downsides of things, like the negative end of it, where you're going to sit for days and days, see a deer.
a safety
Or see
course.
a deer and not get a shot. And you sometimes online a little deceiving. You think that, but you're an outdoors family, so you know what's going on. You'll be fine. Especially you've already knocked down 70% by being the archer that you are. That's the hardest thing. Most people are not competent archers. And I shot an antelope at 100 yards, and I had people break my chops. And years ago, I put out a video of me shooting at 90 yards, sitting in the snow, wind, rain, saying, look, I'm not that great of an archer. I'm not trying to show how competent I am. I'm showing you the equipment can do it. I practice every day, 4 times, 5 times a week. I'm shooting that distance. I know what my bow does at that distance. Now, you're going to tell me I'm unethical for taking that shot, but I'm going to look at you and say, you picked up your bow 2 weeks before the season, shot at 20 yards, and now you're saying you're ready to go in the woods. And I say, you're not. And I say, the difference is the fact that you shoot the way you do and that you're constantly shooting is you're prepared more than 80% of the archers that are going to be in the woods. You're better prepared
And
what you're shooting.
to expand on that, I get asked the ethical question all the time. And you got to be a little careful with ethics and purveying ethics and things like that. Because if you bow hunt long enough, you are going to take a shot that is well within your level of capability, and the end result is not what you intended it to be. And it's not strictly about your capability and the shots you take. Ethics are a continuation there because more ethics, more character comes in after the shot. If you didn't do what you intended to do, how are you going to clean up that mess? And that's where
Right.
the real abrasive stuff comes from. I mean, I've been in camps where I was in a bear camp once, guy wounded 2 bears. And finally the outfitter said, now you're not going out tonight. And the guy was pretty hot because he paid for a bear hunt. And the outfitter told him, I gave you a bear hunt.
I got a rule. If I draw blood on an animal, my hunt's over. So I've always been that way, the way I was taught. And you don't want to put an outfitter into that situation where you wounded an animal and you didn't recover it. Your hunt's over as far as I'm concerned. So I totally get what you're saying.
I've only been on 2 outfitted hunts in my life. So even personally, you're going to, if you bow hunt long enough, you're going to wrestle with that. Man, that did not work out the way that I thought it would work out. And there's no reason other than I messed up, or some animals react really drastically. And that goes back to that feeling you get after you hit an animal. I'm at a point where even when I know I made a good shot, if I don't see the animal fall,
You still have questions.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's where you should always approach that way.
yeah, I'm 99% sure that I'm good, but
Right.
man, there's always that 1%. I hope this is not this.
I started using lighted nocks because of that, because I could recover my arrow at dusk or dark and then see what I did. Because without that arrow, it's kind of tough. You think, I've had guys say they hit an animal broadside or a perfect shot. We'll go back and look at footage or whatever. And go, you out of your mind? Did you see what you did?
Yeah.
I'm trying to say, in your mind, it happened this way. In reality, it didn't.
I've had 2 deer that I've shot, and I've had 1 duck so far that I spined her, and she crawled away. And then the whole ethical thing is you got to come down and you got to put another arrow on the animal because you don't want it to suffer. But
Yeah,
that's something
thing.
you can't teach a kid either.
I've shot 2 in my life that I watched die and gasping for air and almost ended my hunting right there. I really wanted to walk away and said, I don't want to do this anymore. I understand why I do it. And I ate the doe and it was fine and I got it. But making a bad shot really hits you.
That's not what I intended to do, and all on me. There's
on
no
you,
one.
right.
Get you to the point where you hope that you don't do that.
Right.
There's no.
It is going to happen, and every hunter can never say that they've never hit a deer wrong or done something wrong. Every one of us has made a bad shot.
All I could say is you put the time into practice, which most people who make bad shots, a lot of times they don't practice. It's amazing that they actually get an animal, but you put the time in. So you got your skills to a point where you're confident at whatever distance you're going to decide to shoot this animal. And something can go wrong, and yes, you can make a bad shot, but it wasn't because of lack of preparation on your part. That's the thing that you got to feel guilty that you didn't practice. You should have practiced that. You haven't practiced shooting sitting down. You haven't practiced this. Now you're sitting down. And well, what'd you do? Well, you didn't practice it. If you practiced it, you'll kind of feel, I did what I needed to do. This is part of it. This is part of the game. But I did everything I could before I went into the woods. That's something you want to, I don't know how you feel about things. For me, killing an animal has never been a fun thing to me. And you couldn't tell by the stuff that's in my trophy room book. My point is, I've never enjoyed killing an animal.
The pursuit is the fun part. The kill is a necessary part of closure that you have to experience to understand.
Yeah.
And if you haven't experienced it, you're never going to convince anybody of that fact. No. Now, oddly enough, you want to hunt because there's never one reason. There's a lot of reasons. Is it that connection with your grandfather? Is you just want a challenge that you want to undertake, or
Yeah. something new. I'll shoot the video thing, and that's fun, but that's nothing compared to shooting an actual animal. But
There's no consequence to it.
yeah,
There's
But
consequences.
I tell you what, it is good for your skills because you realize that it's not standing there, going to move. You have a small window to make that shot, and you better be decisive and say down and take the shot, which is great about the video things. Different in 3D, where 3D is a lot of, yes, I get it, you're scoring it. But I remember the first time I did it was, oh, this is so real. You wait too long or don't take, you got to read the animal.
yeah.
It's amazing.
You hunt long enough, you're going to second guess taking a shot, waiting for a better one, and the animal's going to walk away.
Yeah.
And to me, that is the biggest causation of people rushing shots out in the woods. They're so afraid they're going to miss an opportunity.
They hesitate, and that's when a bad shot. But I remember watching shows over the years before I was even into this, and guys talking about the perfect shot. You take this and this broadside, and then I hiked for mountain, go 6 hours up a mountain, and with a guide, the cameraman, and we get up there, and you take that shot. You don't wait for the perfect shot. You take the shot and make it perfect. You better practice every angle at shooting that animal. Because there's a shot that will kill that animal. And if you didn't practice, obviously you don't take it. But quartering two, you have to take that shot and tuck it behind the shoulder. There's no tomorrow. You go back out in the woods tomorrow. So the strange thing with your preparation, how that comes into knowing where you are, what you're hunting, and what you're going to be doing. If you're hunting whitetail, yes, you could wait for that perfect shot, because if you don't shoot it today, you could get it 3 days from now. You can go back the next week. Some of these hunts you go on there, they're just so physical.
And just the likelihood that you're going to have an encounter with an animal within shot distance. People have asked me, I got asked in a podcast I did 6 months ago, when you travel, you seem to do okay, because I don't do a lot of guided hunts. I just decide I'm going to go hunt something somewhere, and we figure out a way to do it and go do it. And they said, why do you think that is? I said, well, one, if I'm traveling to hunt, I'm going to hunt. You got 5 to 7 days, 9 days.
Every minute.
You got to be out there every minute. The other thing is I was very fortunate growing up. We talk about mentors, and that I grew up in Hillian, New York, home of Remington Arms. I had some of the best mentors as far as physically shooting a firearm that anyone in the world had. Was right there in my town. My grandfather was foreman of the tool room at Remington Arms for 34 years. My dad worked there for 28. My uncles worked there. I grew up there. And when you live there, you don't realize it as a kid what you've got access to. But the one thing that they taught me was the proficiency with the weapons that I chose to go out with. I didn't have really a bow hunting mentor, which showed when I missed my birthday 4 times. But it really is, one, you have to be able to, you have to be able to capitalize across a wide range of opportunities. You can't just say, I'm only going to take a 15-yard broadside shot because that's the perfect shot, right? Because perfect shots very rarely happen.
The most sweet thing in the world.
Oh, amazing. They're the ones that make me more nervous than anything, because
that's the one you have to make.
Yeah, there is no excuses on this one, guys. But different levels of stress and things like that. But that stress is the one thing that I think punctuates the reality of what you're doing. Is all of a sudden you realize there's a real gravity to what you're about to do. And you go through physical and emotional changes when that happens that are amazing. Actually, the kill part of it is the period on the end of the sentence. And it's hard to explain to people that don't get the concept of killing something. But the kill is necessary if you're a hunter. Otherwise, you're a spectator. You're not actually engaged in the system trying to close the loop. You're just going to take it just so far, and then you're going to walk away. And back to my wife's hippie friend, that was what she said. She says, you close the loop where most people just kind of dance around. And I always thought that was kind of interesting, because I'd never heard that before, where someone actually gave credence to the fact that, hey, the reason I don't eat meat is because I cannot come to grips with the fact that something had to die so that I could eat, right? she struggled with that greatly. A pork chop cured that a little bit, but
Better than a nice bone-in pork chop.
and she's a great girl, but we just come from two very different viewpoints. But she's not combative about it, and I think she is more the norm, unfortunately, in this society, in the society that these two young ladies are going to grow up in. The most vocal person is viewed as being correct when they're really just the most vocal person.
And most of the times, the most vocal people are the minority of the people, and it's not the ones that are actually good.
And they're usually the least educated.
All right, so I want to introduce the other young lady sitting in this chair. This is Victoria Scoothen. She is she's on our team here at the shop, and she's also somebody who wants to learn about hunting as well. So these are two young ladies that want to get into hunting, and she has a couple of questions that she would like to ask, which is, this is the perfect format for her to be able to ask those questions. And Gus, I'm going to ask you to do me a favor. Your microphone,
Yeah.
I want you to fold it down a little bit so it's not in front of your face.
I was trying to hide my face, man. Damn.
There we go.
I grew the beard next was the
now
eyebrows.
we can see
I'm
that.
combing it down
Those
so you can't see.
beautiful,
Let me tell you that
gorgeous,
when you were talking
gray
about
whiskers.
COVID being your favorite time, I'd go in with a mask on, a ball cap, and all these young guys were there, and I go, I'm just as good looking as any of you guys. The mask on and the cap down, you can't see nothing, man. Look at that.
You can't tell how old I am.
Hey, that's it. So, sorry.
All right, so we have
you
Victoria
caught me.
here
Hi
as
again.
well. So take it away.
Go ahead.
Okay, so when you guys are up in the stands in the trees waiting to see if a deer's gonna be there, what is going through your head? What do you think?
Well, it depends on what time of the day. First morning, early in the morning, it's amazing watching the woods wake up, birds, and there's so much happening there. Later in the day, as it gets darker, it's going to get more intense. So that's a different feeling that I usually have. I enjoy morning hunts better. I'm more productive in the evening. But yeah, you're listening for sounds, for
Leaves crunching.
chipmunks
Exactly.
going, and that means something's coming. A lot of things you're listening to, and you're looking. You're so aware of what's around you because you're sitting there for hours.
How long
So-
would you sit there?
I've done 12-hour days constantly, dark to dark.
I've done an hour.
I don't like it anymore, and I'll tell you why. I've done it, and then the last 15 minutes of the hunt, I'm ready to get out of the stand. I've been there too long. I said my scent has been there. Everything's been in there, and I'm antsy to get out of the tree and go back and have dinner. And
not-
I needed to be sharp that last 15 minutes. So I don't like sitting those all day. I've done it. I don't have access. I usually have morning stands, evening stands, depending on the wind and the thermals. A lot of things that go involved. But so I don't normally hunt a stand all day. I'll hunt midday, get out, take a breather, eat lunch, whatever, in a vehicle, and head back to an afternoon stand. Different stand, totally different situation. But yeah, it's intense, man. You're gonna be sharp because the one time you think you're like, there's the deer. Happened. I can't imagine. Like, and your heart's pounding because and for me, a lot of times I hunt alone, so I'm running camera by myself, and there's a lot's got to happen now, and I wasn't sharp. So those are, I don't know. You'll see.
And I think what you'll find as you participate, what I think about now when I'm in a tree has a much wider range than when I first started hunting. When I first started hunting, I was trying to figure out how I could find success. So I was very focused the entire time I was out there. But being a young man, I had other responsibilities, right? Now that I'm older, takes me a couple days really in the tree to defrag and reset, which is what I really like about hunting, is that when I'm out there, my mind gets this reality of, wait a minute, you're out here. You don't need to worry about your email. You don't need to worry about what you're going to have for dinner. You don't need to worry about is work being taken care of. The ability to separate away from it and start to focus on the things that are happening around you. If you're paying attention, the best part is you can stay focused on birds and squirrels and sunlight and spiders and all kinds of things that you would never ever think about if you're sitting there in the woods, and you're going to hear noises and you're going to see things you've never seen before. So really, that the boredom fishing right? You take kids fishing, the overriding mentality is if the fish aren't biting or we're not catching fish, then it's boring sitting out there. But if you go out there and you look down in the water and you see a crayfish and you see a Dobson fly larvae, hellgrammite, you see fish swimming around, you see birds, an osprey, whatever, opens your mind up to there's a whole lot going on around you when you're so focused. And as you get older, you'll be more focused. When you're young, you're probably thinking about, I remember thinking about football games and things that were happening at school. My checkout really was hunting and fishing. Like when I got there very quickly, I didn't have to worry about my chores. I didn't have to worry about my stuff like that. I was very focused on the learning aspect of being out there. And if I could give one piece of advice to a new hunter, it would be go out there and learn everything. Pay attention to things, even the things that you're not out there to do, the squirrels, the birds, the rabbits. Now we have fisher cats. We have all kinds of things out there that you forget are out there.
And Blake's great, but I'm going to give you the magic number. 4 hours in. Then I get aggravated. Now I picked the wrong spot. This was wrong. I shouldn't have sat in this stand. I should have went to the other stand. I should have. 4 hours.
I would have fell asleep.
Usually I keep my focus by that fourth hour. I'm like, man.
I always go by what I know from my cameras. If I know that the deer are coming out at 4 o'clock in the evening,
right.
I know I have to be in the stand at least a half hour before that if I want to be in the action.
Right.
If I know certain stands aren't busy until right before dark, I'm still going to go in at 4 o'clock because I don't want to bust anything. And I want to enjoy the time.
Yeah.
You want to actually be in the tree.
Yeah.
Going back to what Blake was saying about fishing and stuff like that, I enjoy fishing because it takes my mind off everything, whether it be school or friendships or whatever. You have a bunch of stress in your life and you go out and you go fishing, even if nothing's biting. You're sitting there and you can enjoy nature for a while and you can realize what's actually happening around you.
The difference I could say with fishing is you could change your lure, change your bait, check your bait, reel the rod in, recast. There's something you're doing. When you're bow hunting, you're sitting. You're not moving. So I got what he's saying, because you better learn to absorb everything around you and be part of that, because, man, oh, man, if you got to sit, and I've done those 12-hour sits and seen nothing and got out, it's been like, man.
I definitely fall asleep.
A long day.
And you sit all day.
I feel like a loser. I wasted a day of my life, even though I got a lot of things out of it. Until the next day, I wake up, I'm back out the woods.
There are days middle of the rut, you want to be in the woods all day long. If you have to, you can sit there. Sometimes I'll sit till noon, come out for 2 hours, and then go back in at 3.
That's usually my thing now.
So
I take that
only take
breather,
another
that
extra 2
breather,
hours.
so I could get, even if I get in the truck and just take a nap.
Because in
When I go back in, I'm
there's a
sharp
magical
again.
2 weeks rut.
See,
Those bucks are running.
I hate hunting the rut more than anything with a bow. I hate hunting the rut because they're so hard to pattern, and they're so hard to. They're with a doe, and how many times I've seen a good buck, and then seen him not.
And don't get
He's gone. He's gone. I've been waiting for you until you're gone. I'll hunt the rut at home. I used to go try to time the rut for all these trips. I've been in Illinois 3 weeks, and I'll stay 3 weeks. I'm going to catch the rut. And you get the rut. And there goes a buck running a doe, and you have no shot. They ain't like a rifle. And you're going, you're kidding me, man. So I learned to, I appreciate the rut at home. Only because, but I always hunt does during the rut, because I'm like, wherever she's going, he's going to go.
Right. The other thing that I would caution you whenever you engage in anything, but hunting is a great way to do it. Every person here has a limited scope of experience, right? When you're young, it's very narrow. Stay committed to what you do and what you know, okay? Until you, essentially, I'm more of a lucky hunter than a really good hunter, even though I know a ton about white-tailed deer and animals and things like that. I got a minor in whitetail biology, and I can outthink anything. But my hunting strategy is I'm going to make a decision and I'm going to commit to that decision. Once I've done that, I'm going to be committed to that, because what I've figured out about my psychology is if I stay committed to that and I don't think about, man, I sat the wrong stand, or the wind's not perfect here, or what's going on the other side of the farm, or I should be back here or doing that, if I say, I know that if I put my time in where I want to be, I will be more consistent. On the flip side, I very rarely hunt the same area 2 days in a row.
Right.
If I'm not on hot sign, I will get down. I'm also a guy that will go on a 9-day trip to Kentucky, and on day 4, if not clicking, I will take an entire day off and I will either glass or scout and mentally reset because I'm wore out.
Well, I don't really say that while I'm on stand. Usually once it's dark and I'm climbing down from the stand, I start realizing what an idiot. I shouldn't have picked this stand today. I was between 2 stands. I should have went to the other one.
I very much do that.
Yeah.
Used to do that all the time. I'd overthink everything and
You can't,
create a
and
reason.
you realize that you don't know much. Whenever guys tell me all about they know in whitetail, I always go, well, what private land are you hunting? Where's the food plots? Because you deer are not leaving there, are you? You haven't done much public land hunting in the Northeast.
I've done a little bit of public land, but I
no,
have
not you.
Yeah.
I'm saying when guys tell me that they know
yeah.
all about whitetail.
They're also the guys that watch
Well, let's see how many
hunting public
guys
and learn how
walk
to
by
hunt
your
for them.
stand. How many people trespassed on the property you're there while you're in the stand?
Next question.
Go.
All right. So, do you guys have any mottos or something you do differently, something you think you do differently than other people when you go hunting?
I don't believe that anything that I've done has not been done before by someone else.
Everybody's got their little quirks. How they have their stand set up, how they do where their bow hook is. Somebody likes to have it on the right hand side of them or over the left hand side of them. There's different things that people can do, but I think most people do the same thing. You're up in a tree, you're waiting for a deer, you got your bow.
I think what separates my success is perseverance.
Yeah.
That's it.
I think all three of us sitting here have put our time in
the thing.
every
It's
day.
Going home dejected and feeling bad, but the
More
next
times than
morning that alarm goes off and you're out of that bed and ready to go. That's success. That's how you become successful. Perseverance. That's what it is.
And I don't know about everyone else here that has hunting experience. I'm seeing a disturbing trend in people convincing themselves why they should not hunt rather than figuring out where they should hunt and when they should hunt. Because you go back to my traveling hunt analogy. If I only have 5 days to kill the animal that I travel, or 9 days,
woods.
right? That's a very narrow window of opportunity. So you have to stay there. You're not going to kill an elk by saying, I don't think they're bugling today.
Yeah. Well,
you climb them out.
What's
right?
amazing, see, I've never done what you said, took that day off. And I should have at times on hunts. Said, the weather's not right. I should take the day off and scout. Never done it. And I always said, man, you should have taken a break. It wasn't happening. You burnt yourself out on this, and you should have taken that one day off. And smart strategy,
That's not smart.
No matter persistence is really what it is.
And when you're worn out, recognize you're worn out.
So here's a question that's piggybacking off of Victoria asked here. In regards to our youth, something that you do different, do you feel that in our society right now where everything has to be instant gratification for our kids is going to be detrimental to the youth getting in the woods and being able to stay in the woods and not being successful?
Did you say Utes?
The two youths?
Two Utes?
The two youths.
Oh, God.
Yeah, I think the instant gratification is going to stop a lot of people from hunting. Yeah, I really do. I think the young people who are not used to that type of... But again,
It's a catch-22, though.
there's going to be certain people that are going to still have that passion.
And
And some are going to have it.
And again, back to my hunters talking themselves out of going hunting because something's not perfect. We're developing an overriding mentality in society that if we can't manufacture a perfect scenario based strictly upon a knowledge base, an intellectual knowledge base, we're never going to engage it. That's the most dangerous thing, is that I look at my children. My children probably, now listen, I was really stupid until I was 35. I didn't know it, right?
Until you were 35?
Yeah. And then I got a little bit smarter. Okay.
Okay.
I was really stupid. Now I'm stupid. But I see my children and my children's friends, they walk through mental scenarios. Is this going to be easy? Can I do this? Or is this going to be hard and I'm not going to waste the time? That decision-making process where we didn't have as much distraction.
Yeah.
We went out and did things that we always did. You have a farm background. You understand that engagement's important because if you don't feed and water those animals, there's consequences to that. And that's strictly based upon ritual activity, chore, whatever you want to do it. But that reinforces the fact that you need to be engaged, where now we have selective engagement in society. And that's more of the problem. We call it instant gratification because that's the end result. But the process that creates that, and I see it in my consults and work relationships all the time, is everybody wants supervisor pay, but they don't want supervisor responsibility.
All right.
Yep.
Right? Great to have a goal to become a supervisor or a manager or that salaried employee. But as you found out, you were mentioning, wait a minute, I make $4 an hour by the time you calculate all the hours I have to work to have the title that I had to carry more stress. Is this really worth it? Right? Our kids are much more educated in evaluating things that way. Is the juice worth the squeezing, right?
Yeah.
That's the real barrier, not the instant gratification, the likelihood of success, okay? When it starts to diminish, our children or society in general has a lower threshold for, I don't care if it doesn't make any sense, I want to go do it. I come out of a 4-H mentality where you either win or learn. There's no losing, there's no anything. But if you aren't out there trying, you're never going to accomplish anything. You're never going to learn anything. And most importantly, you're never going to learn how to fail. And in my own children, their generation, they really have not learned how to deal with that adversity at a level that we did, because we had to try things 12 times because we couldn't flip open a YouTube video.
Right.
If I had YouTube when I was a kid, I'd have been a mechanic because,
Oh, sure. You could learn so much.
oh my gosh.
The only place I disagree with you is both my kids play sports, and my daughter played in college. And there is no instant gratification, my friend. So if you get kids involved, hunting is great, but there's also sports.
Let's say you guys, sports, correct?
That's
you guys
that's,
have that.
that's a thing too where you learn. But yeah, the internet age, it's parenting, man. You get back to it, the parenting. That's where it comes in. You're involved in your kids' lives, and you're taking interest in it.
Yeah, and if your kid takes an interest in hunting, find somebody that, you have to know somebody that knows what they're doing with hunting. Everybody has somebody.
Show up at a place or your family. But if you didn't have family that hunted, you could come here and I guarantee you can meet a bunch of hunters.
Somebody who would
or
take you
teach you.
hunting. I'm pretty sure somebody would find somebody.
Well, that's that surrogate that is the youth archery coach. In today's society, we have a lot less patriarchal family development. In my family, my aunts, my uncles, cousins, everybody did everything as a family, and then you met friends of all of those people that had a common interest. Where now, it's a lot harder. There's a lot of kids that don't live with a mom and a dad.
Mm-hmm.
And there's estranged grandparents. There's a lot of children. I live in a very rural area that has some endemic rural poverty issues, and one of those is grandchildren. Grandchildren are being raised by their grandparents,
Right.
who don't have energy and influence. There's not a pool of people.
Well, also the political climate. Yes, families not talking. They won't have Thanksgiving together. They can't sit at the same table. Think about the craziness that's gone on in the past few years.
The nuclear family is no longer nuclear.
Yeah, you're talking about patriarchs and matriarchs, all people who are involved in these kids' lives. Well, the children are not the little children, but the grandparents. The children are not talking to them, so their grandkids are not getting there. What are we doing, man? What are we doing with the whole thing? This whole society is right.
That's why we have to take care of our own.
And if we really look at it, success rate, awesome what you do with it with the youth leagues, and there's some great product of it sitting right here.
Sure.
Right?
I'm proudest dad in the world, even though they're not my actual kids.
Exactly.
Dad?
Oh, we're gonna call you that.
Totally. You have no idea what I put up with. Well, then you have an idea what they put up with.
So you think Ryan realizes that he got the two wrong guys sitting on the couch here? Because we can talk.
Yeah, and I got to
We
work.
can talk, brother. I got to head up to the Adirondacks tomorrow morning. I'm like, you want a podcast? Wait a minute. Well, me yet?
What is a podcast?
Me and Blake? Wait a minute.
Like 3
I was
different
setting
podcasts
all this
together.
up to segue into.
Oh, here we go.
I appreciate you guys both joining us on the couch tonight. I can't thank you enough.
Let's get into what you feel about, and then Blake and I would start going, and then you would never.
No, this was fantastic.
How do you?
This came so natural.
Here's what I think is great, Ryan, is that you recorded it. I don't know how many people would want to listen to streaming it, but you could cut this up. To
I've got a lot of
bunch
content
short,
here.
cool, to the point video.
I just appeared out of nowhere.
Go ahead.
You gotta do the
I'm gonna
explosion
edit
thing, like
that.
the smoke and stuff.
I'm going to edit myself just
Yes,
very.
yes.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for joining us tonight here on the Cast Release Podcast, hosted by the Cask Outdoorsman. My name is Ryan, the very humble host for tonight, and my assistant that helped me this evening,
Carly. Victoria.
okay, and our esteemed guest,
Blake Davis.
and then
Gus Gongemi.
And Shane Cunningham.
cannot thank you guys enough for joining us. This was probably one of my favorite podcasts that I've done to date. This is probably one of the most free-flowing conversations, and that's what a podcast is supposed to be. And I respect everybody's points that you guys made, and I have the utmost respect for everyone that is here tonight. Thank you so much for joining us. I hope we get to do this again. And on that note, ladies and gentlemen, please,
Find your peace.
outdoors. Yeah. And everybody, please, don't forget.
Find your peace.
Outdoors.
One more time. Come on.
And hey, everybody, don't forget.
Find your peace.
Outdoors.
There we go. Good night.
Hey Ryan, you didn't have to get between me and Blake. We
Yeah.
weren't going to go to blows, bro. I know it sounded like we were, but we really weren't.
God.
We always have these.
I had
I know you and I.
I had to put myself in the middle of a Gus and Blake sandwich.
We're here till the morning.